Hello. It's going fine, but no one can hear you. Hold on, I picked the wrong one. Sleepy engineering and uh, the scene that I'm engineering is right out of the edge of my ability to see. Okay, this is awkward, but I think people can see you now. You're literally looming behind me.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wow. I'm the whole screen.
So I'm gonna fix that in a minute. Nancy
But this
should be
way?
doing.
So it's this,
Please
yeah,
don't.
this way?
I'm gonna make myself tiny.
Hold on.
I'm.
Let me see here. Let me if I can get this going here.
Oh noes. Oh noes.
There you go.
Okay.
I think
I'm
that's it.
tiny now. I'm harder to grab.
You're like right down there.
Yep. So it's at least set up now for Nancy to join. Uh, Stop. Commands, words. They're all hard. They're all hard. So how are you doing, Fraser?
I'm good. I hope I'm a little more rested than you are.
It's so I'm actually rested mostly fine. I had plenty of time in bed last night, but I kept having the can't oversleep. Sudden
Right.
waking up,
Right.
checking the clock. Okay, did not oversleep. Go back to
Yeah.
sleep.
Well, oh,
Um,
I know that feeling that you're like working on some project and it's just running around in your head. And so even if you are laying in bed, there's no getting to sleep because your mind is still at work. You might as well just be sitting in front of your computer, continuing to do whatever it is you were doing because there's no getting away from your own mind.
yes,
Wherever you go, you
and
take that with you.
yes, and since you are now here,
Hmm.
I'm actually going to take a brief break and I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to tell the audience all about all the awesome and amazing things that you produce and maybe beg for some money. We're currently sitting at $3,700. Folks,
Yeah.
we can do better than $3,700. We really can. So I
Sure, I can tackle some questions as well if people want to hit me with their info. And I think Nancy and I were going to talk a bit about the weekly space hangout. So
yes, she should be joining momentarily.
I'm
Let me
here.
switch to gallery view. Let me kill my hide self viewer. There, I have the two of you on my
you,
screen. All right.
she's down there.
Yep. And
Okay.
I am going to be back in
Okay.
just a few.
Right on.
Take your time.
We got this. Hey Nancy, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Fraser?
Good. So did we want to talk a bit about the weekly space hangout this season? Was that your thoughts?
Either that or the crew. I mean,
Yeah.
this kind of got thrown at us last minute because
Yeah, it's
Pamela
fine.
deserves a break.
Well, so let's talk a bit about what we did to the weekly space hangout this year and why it's all different and what the plan is.
Right.
So people I'm sure are aware, and maybe if not everybody knows what happened. Both Morgan, Kimberly, and Paul needed to resign entirely because he's just too busy being Paul. Morgan and Kimberly had to decrease their commitment just because they're busy with other projects as well.
Sure.
And so we were like, okay, so what do we do? What do we do? I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
No, but
But
and I'm not coming on every week.
yeah, yeah. So then the question is like, what did we do? And it was funny. So I was actually talking to Carla, my wife,
Mhm.
and she was saying like, what is the thing? What do you love most about the weekly space hangout? And the the experience that we had in helping science communicators build up their expertise to go from feeling afraid to sit in front of a camera and to share and communicate their information to being comfortable to being experts. And really, if you look at say the path that Morgan, Kimberly, and Paul took over years and years. You can really watch people who go from being researchers and academics,
Mhm.
but with a passion for science communication, to actually be very skilled in being able to communicate. And I hope that a big part of that is just week after week of
Right.
just being hammered with questions and thinking on their feet and preparing stories that they didn't know on the Weekly Space Hangout. And so I was in conversation with Carl about that, and I was saying, like, that's the thing that I feel proudest
Mhm.
about, that this value that we're bringing, not only just in communicating the space news and science news out there, but also in helping, giving people a venue to practice and become great science communicators when it's kind of hard to get your first steps, you know.
You're right.
How do you go from not communicating science to communicating science? So that's that was sort of the core of the thing that I wanted to try and preserve the most. And so then I talked to you about this idea,
Right.
and you're a complete maniac and willing to take on very difficult things. So where to go from there?
Well, at that point, we figured it would be good to have a combination of experienced journalists as well as early career journalists. And we tried to find a good balance for that. We have a slew of past
Mhm.
experienced journalists from which we could pull. And we've actually created an amazing pool of, I think, somewhere around 12 to 13 experienced journalists.
Yeah. Are
And
kind of in regular rotation, and
yes,
obviously,
yeah,
you know, the alumni of the Weekly Space Hangout has got to be in the dozens and dozens at this point. So we can
exactly.
always draw on other people as well. Everyone, you know, Emily Dr. Walla, Phil Plate, you know, you name it, they have
Right,
participated in the Weekly Space Hangout at some point.
right. So then Kimberly and came to us and said, look, if you guys are going to cut back, we threw this out there. We kind of put together a steering commission, if you want to call it that, to say, okay, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's feasible? Can you recommend early career journalists? And Kimberly and Morgan both came back and said, absolutely, this is a great thing. We can give you some names. And oh, by the way, if it's only going to be every fourth or fifth week, we'll be happy to continue
Yeah.
participating. We just couldn't commit to
Yeah.
the weekly schedule.
Yep.
And Kimberly gave us a bunch of names. Morgan gave us a bunch of names. You put out a call.
Yeah,
to-
yeah. I sort of used all of my various media to get the word out that we were looking to add more people to the team.
Right.
So I think
And
how many people did actually ended up sort of reaching out and going into regular rotation?
we ended up with probably, I would say, 8 to 10
Yeah.
responses. But then we also had some criteria
Hmm.
because we wanted to maintain the level of quality of information we're putting out there. Not that there aren't talented amateurs,
Hmm.
but it's easiest if you can use as your first pass a grad student or a recent grad, PhD candidate, early career journalist, just getting
Hmm.
out there. And that kind of weeded things out. And then we did interviews. Morgan did an amazing job of just on camera interviews with our candidates to get a feel for their comfort level and their ability to speak well and coherently and clearly. And we ended up with, we thought we were going to have 4. One young lady has not responded back. I think her life just got too chaotic. So we've had
Yeah.
a rotating pool of 3
Yep.
amazing
Yeah.
individuals. And this last week, we kind of were in scramble mode because all 3 of them were unavailable.
Yeah.
And so we actually got a couple new names from Moya McTeer, who's one of our early careers.
Yeah.
And during the next break, I'm going to contact them and see if they're interested in joining.
Yep.
We finally, the first couple shows we did, it was, I think, 2 experienced and 2 early careers, and you. And with our guests each week, it just got to be really pressed for time.
Yep.
So we settled on 2 experienced journalists and 1 early career. And that has been a really great mix
Yep.
and ratio. And what I'm trying to do in scheduling is pair everybody with everybody else so that our early career journalists are experiencing different styles, different areas of study, different levels of career experience.
Yeah.
And that's proving to be a challenge. You should see the spreadsheet I have.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like before, you just counted on some combination of the 4 of us showing up and doing the show, and you didn't even have to worry about who was going to be on the show. It was going to be Kimberly, Paul, Fraser, Morgan, right? And now it's like requires very constant organization, not only to do the guests, but also to have all the various co-hosts show up.
Right.
Yeah.
So about once a month, I ask everybody to fill out a spreadsheet with their availability for the coming 2 months.
Right.
And then I just sit there and go, okay, you can make it, you can. And it's fun, but it's also challenging, and my brain kind of breaks down at times.
It's funny, like I'm sure from an organization standpoint, I'm sure there's other things you can do to optimize it. And then for me, for hosting, I don't know if people notice, but it is definitely challenging my brain as well. It's gotten a lot easier, but my job is to try to make them be the best that they can be, right? To put off the best, to show off their knowledge and to play to their strengths.
Right.
And so I have to be constantly running a simulation of every single person who I'm interacting with, going, what are these people's strengths, right? What are their blind spots? What are the things that they're, I know they can talk on and on and on about, and then also helping to just encourage and draw out more details, but without necessarily walking them into places where they don't know the information, and it's kind of, that's not what you want, right? You want them to, so it's taxing. It's funny. This season was really hard for me. And that's how you know you're on the right track, is when you're feeling stressed out and in pain and your mind is crying out, and you're wiped out at the end of doing this thing that you used to do very easily, then you know, okay, this is what's important. And I'm so grateful for getting an opportunity to help people be communicators, to point as much of the spotlight that we can on as many people as humanly possible, and send and get them to then ladder up to whatever new cool opportunities come to them. So it's great. And that feels great. It feels, there's lots of places you can get your space news from, universetoday.com, for example. But
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. But to actually give people an opportunity to practice science communication and to train them is wonderful. And I'm really enjoying this season. And so I hope people understand that's what's going on.
In all our lives, if you are constantly in your comfort zone, you get stagnant and bored.
Yeah.
You always need to challenge yourself, and good grief, I know you challenge me all the time.
I have that effect on people.
Yeah. I mean, every season, it's like you throw in this new monkey wrench, and Susie and I just kind of look at each other and go, oh Lord. But then we step up and
Yeah.
and we answer the call and we figure out how to get it done. And it's
Yeah.
made us better
Yeah.
producers and time management people and project managers.
Yeah.
25 years ago, I never thought that I would be capable of doing the project management that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I mean, you're not just capable, like you are one of the most capable coordinator, project manager, producer people I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
well,
So
thank you.
you're the greatest. And
Thank you.
we couldn't do any of this without your help. The show, really, you are the heart and soul of a lot of what we're doing here. So thank you for all of your help over all these years. And
Thank you.
here's to many more years of this. It's as long as you're up for it,
Oh, of course.
as long as you're still having a good time.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
So
So
we talked about, you've got some new ones coming on board. How do we think this will go for the next couple of, throughout this season and then into the next season, do you think?
well, I'm hoping for the remainder of this season, we'll be able to have at least one additional early career, if not two.
Yeah.
And that'll help us with the rotation. And again, we don't want everybody to feel like they have to be available at all times. We certainly have enough of a pool with our experienced journalists that I'm comfortable with how often people are coming on. If we can get up to 4 or 5 early career and rotate them in, I think it gives everybody more opportunity to experience what's really going on out there.
Yeah.
And going into the next season, maybe we can expand it a little more.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
at
going
the
to
very,
be attending the American Astronomical Society meeting in Honolulu in like a week and a half.
okay.
And so my plan is to find candidates who want to participate there, because I'll get a chance to meet people and interview them on the spot and talk to them and find out how they're,
Absolutely. Yeah.
if this is a path that they want to go into. And I think it's going to be, I think better and bigger year after
Sure.
year after year.
Yeah. I think that's a great plan. And it would certainly take a lot of the, oh my God, we got to get more people stress off of us over the hiatus. What people don't realize is we go on hiatus, but that's only from the weekly production.
Yeah.
We scramble all summer.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny. People sort of imagine that we take a break over the hiatus, but we don't. We just don't do a live show every 3 days. So
right.
The benefit for myself and for Pamela is that we just don't have to live our lives always 20 feet away from high-speed internet.
Right.
We can suddenly, for 2 months, I can go on hikes.
Right.
And I can go and, visit friends and family and actually get a chance to get out of the house.
Right.
Which doesn't, I don't think I've left the house in 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Sorry, we did some Christmas shopping yesterday. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah. What the other thing is with the whole shift in our show structure this year, I think we pulled that off in about 4 weeks? Because this all hit the beginning of August.
Yeah.
I think. And we already
I think we knew that we were going to lose the rest of the team, the steady rest of the team, but then we and started to organize who the new people were going to be. It was going to be more of a rotating thing, and then that's when I threw my wrench at you guys, like, beginning of August, I think.
Yeah, and it was just like, well, we did it. And the first couple shows, it was really nerve-wracking, but now I think we've got a good flow going.
Yeah. My hope always is you get to a point where everyone is like chatting with each other, asking questions to each other. Instead of me being the conduit, I get to kick back and just let people, talk to each other.
Right.
So can we talk a bit about what it means to be an executive producer of the of the Weekly Space Hangout. And of course, it's a title that you share with all the other members of the Weekly Space Hangout. So what does it mean if you join the crew to be an executive producer?
It means that you have to become very comfortable with essentially doing cold calls on people you idolize.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I mean, I say this every week, but it's like this moment you join the crew, you become the equivalent of an executive producer. You can print out your own business cards. You can reach out to anyone who you are a fan of, and I've got your back.
Right.
You know, I'm glad to do the interview with whoever you want. You want to try and get Neil deGrasse Tyson on? Go ahead, make it happen.
Right.
And so I think, you know, are people doing that, or are they, you know,
there are some.
Yeah.
I think most are just happy to have each other to chat with in the Slack and whatnot. We've had a couple guests that were crew enlisted.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm the one doing it, which is fine. I mean,
now, are people suggesting a name to you? They're saying, "Oh, here's someone cool," or are you
when
coming
they
up with the ideas?
suggest someone, I say, "You see that pinned post up there? That's our template. Go for it."
Yeah.
And I tell them, look, that's just a starting point. That's just, you take that template, you modify it for your own voice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's coming from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do most of it. I scour things, like I get a daily email from Earth Sky News, and I scour articles in there to see what's interesting, that it's like, oh, that might be interesting to have on the show. And I put it aside and I'm going to be doing a lot of emailing in the next 2 weeks. I'm on vacation for my day job, so I'm hoping to get a good chunk of the next half season.
And what would you say is the response rate? So when you reach out to someone and say, "Hey, would you like to be a guest on the show?" What percentage of people say yes?
I would say 60 to 75%. Yeah, I would say that at some, they respond, and I'm happy if I get a response. And I would say the 60 to 75% is the response rate.
Yeah.
And of that, I would say probably a good 50 to 60% say yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we pretty much interview half. We get an opportunity to interview about half of the people who we try to interview.
Right. And sometimes it's just logistical. Their schedule is so packed for the next 6 months or 8 months.
Yeah.
Or time zone chaos is another issue, but we do have the pre-record option.
Yep.
The hardest part of the whole job is typically finding contact information for some of these people.
Yeah.
I could probably give a private detective a run for his money for uncovering information.
Yes. I have the same problem. It's funny. I'm actually thinking of writing some posts, probably on LinkedIn or something like that, to just say like if you want to be perceived as an expert in your field, you've got to make yourself easier to interview, easier to find, and easier to interview. And I think that most people are so concerned about like spam or something that they make it really hard for people to interview them.
Yeah.
And it's maddening, right? Have a web page for your university or on the internet somewhere with your email address.
Right.
That's
I found that most university contacts, they do have, if they have an affiliation with the university, they do have contact information. One of the best places I found is if you can find a paper that they've published on, what is it, Archive, ARXIV?
Yep.
Scour through that, because a lot of times they have the author's email addresses in there.
Yeah. And from our perspective, like if your contact information isn't easy to get at, we just skip it. right? Like unless we really, really want to follow up with you about some piece of interesting news,
Mhm.
if there's, if we want to talk to two planetary geologists, we'll go for the one who makes our lives just that much easier to find them,
Right.
right? And we skip the one who makes our lives that much more difficult to find them. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's funny. Like I get the same situation with like press releases
Mhm.
and things like that. Like people will share some interesting press release, but they won't share any pictures.
Right.
And so like we got nothing, right? Like so now I've got to go and I got to find a picture or I've got to
Right.
make a picture to be able to tell your news.
Mhm.
Um
And how much
no
of that
thank
is
you.
that some of these individuals are so engrossed in their subject matter that they have never been properly trained in how to not market themselves,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
promote their projects and
Yeah, it's a
their
theme.
work.
I've been talking with a bunch of people. I talked to Sean Carroll about this. I talked um, to David Kipping about
Mhm.
this. I talked to Dr. Becky about this.
Right.
And I'm just like, why is communicating your work not well respected in the educational community?
Mhm.
I can see Pamela nodding there. And the real and it is fairly well respected in Europe
Mhm.
and especially in the UK. There's a big like, you know, uh, David Attenborough. There's a ton of real respect there, Brian
Mhm.
Cox, for
Right.
researchers who can communicate their science. And they're
Mhm.
on Horizon and all these really cool documentary shows that are on on the BBC and things like that.
Sure.
But there is absolutely no interest in the United States and Canada, mostly the United States, for researchers to communicate their work. And there's no value seen to it, which
Mhm.
is just a bizarre thing to me
I know.
because that's how they get money, right? They get funding. The research, the benefit they get of the research that they do helps create their public relations. It helps bring new students to helps give them more money,
Mhm.
helps increase their endowments, helps them fundraise, helps researchers get um, uh, when they're filing for grants and things like that. But at the end
Right.
of the day, all they care about really is can you do research
Right.
at the universities, not do you take any time to communicate your research.
Yeah.
And
I
it's a funny
don't
thing to me.
understand it.
Yeah, yeah. And so there is no emphasis placed on it. It's not a requirement.
And how many of our guests have like flown beneath the radar of
Yeah.
publicity, and when we get them on, I mean, how many? I think
Just
I've
this
gotten
week.
one or two guests
Yeah.
after hearing them on Wait, Don't Tell Me. It's like, and they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their subject is fascinating. They have the best personality for
Yeah.
communicating their science.
Yep.
And yet, if I hadn't been listening to Wait, Don't Tell Me,
Yeah.
never would have heard of them.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to with going to the American Astronomical Society
Mhm.
meeting. Is I'm going to get a chance to talk to people and go, okay, this person is interesting. They're great communicators of what they're doing.
Mhm.
They'll be a perfect guest. So my
Right.
hope is I will come home with a very successful hunt and bring a whole pile of guests and hand them all off
Great.
to you and the team. Same thing for doing some of the live shows on my channel, same thing for
Mhm.
some of the guest questions. you know um I love the poster rooms
Right.
because they've got their information there. You just walk from person to person, go, what do you do? What is this? What's this all
Mhm.
about? And then they
Right.
explain their research. And if they're good at it and it's interesting, boom, you got yourself a guest right there.
Exactly.
So it's such a weird, archaic, like the poster presentations in those conferences. It's a waste of time for most of them, but not for me. It's
Yeah.
perfect
I
for what
mean,
I need, which is to
I
find more
do
guests.
I do a similar thing when I go to NEAF.
Yeah.
It's great. You walk up and down, and if something catches my eye, in fact, I found an organization a couple years ago, and I haven't had a chance to follow up with them, but they use occultations to map topography on
Right.
planets and stuff.
That's cool.
And it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to contact them to be on the show. It's really an interesting way to find guests, and you get some of the better guests that way.
Yeah, it sounds great. Pamela, what's the plan?
I think we're supposed to record this show I think you might have heard about called Astronomy Cast.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah, I've heard of this thing.
Okay, I'm going to pop out, go back and do some raffles for the next half hour or 45 minutes, whatever. Just let me know when you want me back here.
Thanks, Nancy. That was fun. It was great to catch up and sort of explain the thinking behind everything that we're doing. So I hope more people will join the WSH crew, the Weekly Space Hangout crew, and take advantage of this ability to reach out to researchers and communicators and invite them on the show. This is your chance to directly hear the news and the researchers that you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my part. I'll interview them, but you've got to invite them.
Okay. I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes.
Sounds awesome.
Bye-bye.
Oh, donate.
This is the one ongoing thing that I've had to make fun. I'm using a keyboard for the wrong computer and being really confused why it's not typing. Quite often I have left our Hangoutathon in the hands of my fabulous co-host and friend, Fraser, in the long night hours, and he's had access to telescopes and done some amazing things. And then I'll come back and it's like no money was raised because everyone was captivated by the pretty pictures. And I always make fun of him.
Yeah. You're the fundraiser, not me.
I hate it.
But keep in
mind,
I have not taken a single penny from the Weekly Space Hangout, from Astronomy Cast, for everything that we've done. We don't take any money for this. Our goal here is purely to raise awareness of space and astronomy, to help people learn and participate and communicate and contribute to understanding our universe. And this is all about that. So any money that you donate and give to us just goes directly into the operations that we do, the programmers to help pay for the mapping software, the producers, the audio engineers to help make Astronomy Cast, Susie, Nancy. These people have names. They have bills to pay. And our bill to pay is them, so that they can pay their bills to pay. So you have to help us pay our bills, which is them. And we couldn't do this without you. There's only there's only so many people who are willing to be volunteers along this journey forever. And so please, if you haven't already. Now, how does this competition work? Like I see people winning tickets. What's going on here? How does this work?
Okay, so we basically like to give shit away. It's the way we do. We believe in giving.
Well, we're on Twitch. You can totally swear.
Oh yeah. And so we have a variety of giveaways for CosmoQuest. We have things that have been donated to us, and we are saying, look, come, show up, be part of everything we're doing. Donate if you are able, but anyone who watches can earn points towards raffle tickets. So you get more if you donate. We hope you will donate. We have brought in more money than the postage to mail everything out should cost. So we're good.
Yeah.
But this is our way of saying, let's just celebrate together. Let's hang out together. And we want to make it worth people's while to see us continue to exist.
Yeah.
And there's a side of, hey, I have cool stuff I want to give away. Let me give it away to you. So this particular Hangoutathon, last year when we did this, there was a whole lot of desperation involved.
Yeah.
We were going into a government shutdown. We had zero funding to our name.
Yep.
We didn't know how we were going to make it. And we had a small pot of leftover money that had transferred from SIUE to ASP, who hadn't been able to spend it, that transferred it to PSI, and that became my salary. And we had the Osiris Rex contract that I've been working on, as well as some of our programmers. But we needed to bring in funding to pay everyone else. And the Astronomy Cast Patreon pays Susie. The donations that we have coming in for 365 Days of Astronomy made headway for Aviva and Richard, but weren't enough. And we have all these other people that go into making everything work. And it was wholly expletive. We don't even know when the next grant deadline is going to be. How are we going to make this happen?
Yep.
And we kept it going for an entire year. We've kept it going. We have a bunch of grants pending. We have received notifications that as soon as there is budget and paperwork and signing and signatures, one of the grants will be released. Thank you, Wayne Johnson, for donating $11.40, making it a palindrome. I get overly excited about palindromes.
What?
We are 381-183 currently.
Oh, I see. I see.
So we're in a much better place this year.
Yeah.
But I ran.
Yeah, you
all
were
of
the
fundraising,
the grant master.
Yeah, but I hate it. And
Yeah.
I would rather cram all of it into 40 hours and the week and a half of prep than spread it out over the course of a year. And so I ran the numbers, which is something I do on a monthly basis to make sure we can make payroll. And I figured out what is the difference between the average amount of money that we bring in month to month between bits and subs and all of our various Patreons. We have a Patreon for CosmoQuest, patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. And what I realized was the difference between paying people for every hour they work, which we're not currently doing. Like Susie, I keep realizing is working way more hours than we're paying her. Annie is doing the exact same thing. I hate that. I want to pay people all the hours they work. And so I figured out what will that take. And the difference between what we're bringing in and what that will take is just $40,000. And I know that sounds like a lot.
In one lump sum.
Yeah.
But when you stretch it out over the course of an entire year, right?
Right. And so, and it's not just stretching it out. Thank you, Ponder65, for the sub. Thank you.
That's a good way to do it. If you've got a Twitch Prime, go ahead
Yeah.
and, you know what? I haven't even used my Twitch Prime. How do I do it?
Carefully.
There. Did it work?
It's still going through the system. Still going through the system.
It says it's my 2-month sub anniversary.
I think you need
So
to
yeah,
click
if you got a
and
Twitch
return.
Prime that you haven't used this month, use it with us. Oh, do I click the little share button?
Yes.
Did that work?
Yay! That worked.
And
That
now
worked.
I get an emote.
Yep.
I gift up to
And a little
100
animation just
gifts to
occurred.
viewers. Okay. I'm going to gift. Oh, I see. Weird. Okay. There you go. I'm another month. Twitch Prime.
And so there's lots of ways you can help. And sometimes just getting the word out is what matters. Because you never know who you're going to bring into our community that is going to have the resources, is going to have the means to really make a difference for us. And you never know who you're going to bring in whose life is going to get changed by exposure to science.
Exactly.
And so just spread the word. Don't be evil. Do not drop into someone else's Discord or while they're streaming and be all like, hey, y'all, you need to go over. Don't. That's bad. But there's ways to do it. Like, hey, when you're not watching this stream, you might enjoy this other thing. Talk to the mods first and find out what's the best way to share. And
Or if you're a host your own Twitch channel.
Yeah,
Reshare our streams.
exactly.
Help get the word out. Should we do this astronomy cast thing?
I think so. Let me get I'm running 2 computers right now. so let me.
So which way? So normally I engineer astronomy cast.
Yep.
But now you are doing it, right? Or your team is going to be sharing it out on Twitch, and then someone is re-streaming it out on YouTube?
So the understanding we had was you were going to host the YouTube, and I'm hosting the Twitch.
Oh, okay.
And we're sharing a Zoom window.
Okay.
Can you put my Zoom in the part of your screen you normally put your Zoom and make this work?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see if I can. Yeah, this got weird. Okay, hold on. Let's see what I can do.
If you need me to call you back on your Zoom, I can.
No, I don't think so. Let me see.
We have departed from being a palindrome because chaos. Did someone donate pennies or something? What did I just miss? Thank you for the bits.
Okay.
I can't see. Oh, we got $100.10 or something. Yes, that's what happened. We got and 1 cent. We got $100.01. 11 cents. That's what it was. Okay, thank you, Bad Panda. Bad Panda is one of our oldest audience members, community members. He's actually been around since I did Slacker Astronomy, and he has one of my favorite avatar images on... where do you have that? I've seen it so many places, and I'm blanking on where I've seen it most. Anyways, he has this fabulous, fabulous avatar image somewhere I can't remember. That's useless.
So I need to give you a different camera.
Okay.
And then...
So today we're going to be talking about Tabby Star, and I have the notes in front of me.
I'm ready. I'm ready for that. Okay.
Thank you, Lance.
There's you, there's me, there's us, there's that. Okay.
Come here. Up. Malachi is like, I heard it. I don't want to come near you, but I heard it. There you go. Okay. That's all you get. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ponder65, for the host over. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the tip, Keeper of Maps. We have peaked $4,000. We have gone over, and we are not a palindrome because of 3 cents. Okay, whoever donates next needs to make us a palindrome. Yes, Limp Rimble. They did get their bones. Malachi was chewing on his in the background. We gave Eddie his in the middle of the night, or it felt like the middle of the night. It was actually 7:30 in the morning. And Eddie, who buries things, walked around down here crying softly because I wouldn't let him take his bone away to bury it. Malachi got his when I just came down. Thank you so much. And it's okay that it didn't occur to you, Keeper of Maps. It's okay. You guys are awesome. Infinite Oregano says palindromes are overrated. Need to get primes represented instead.
So there was a malfunction at the junction here, and I didn't realize that I was going to host the stream as well. So now I understand the plan and have adapted to make it work. So I got to sort of explain this now. Hey, everyone. Welcome to a very weird episode of Astronomy Cast. For those of you who don't know, people are getting, people have to hide one of them. You got to decide. We're actually right in the middle of the Astronomy cast. The CosmoQuest Hangoutathon 2019 edition. Pamela, you have been streaming for a long time.
We are currently at 1 day, 5 hours, 34 minutes. And thank you for the sub, JB McCool. Oh, actually, Veronica Cure shared stuff and good things are happening and the chat is moving quickly. I love you all.
Good. I have 2 chats to watch. This is great.
Welcome
More
to my
complicated.
universe.
I love it. See, sometimes people throw curveballs at me instead, and I have to deal with it. So how do I like it? I like it just fine. Bring it on. More curveballs. So anyway, so Pamela's in the middle of doing the Hangoutathon, doing this annual fundraiser that we do. And one of the things that has been put into this is an episode of Astronomy Cast. We actually had a big long chat about the Weekly Space Hangout, and then I didn't realize that I was then supposed to start the stream at 11 o'clock. So here we are. For those of you who are wondering what it is that you've stumbled into, we're going to record a live episode of Astronomy Cast. But after this, you should go back and watch the rest of the CosmoQuest Hangoutathon, and I'm sure someone will put a link in the YouTube chat to continue on this wonderful journey that we're having. I'm going to say hi to a bunch of people. Hello to Big Brown Sound, Bill Sugden, Coalfire, Colin Jones, Diamond Heart, Doran Smulian, Dusty Reichwin, Gordon Dewis, John Suffill, Paranor, Rich Wilson, Roman Geber, Uncle Bill Druin, Wayne Johnson, William Beek, and Zeppin. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special, and this time I mean it, episode of Astronomy Cast.
I hope you
happening
always
during
mean it.
the Hangoutathon. So we are going to start recording in a moment.
I'm just
before we
making
do-
sure I have the Patreon benefits page up for a change.
Oh, good. Very organized. I've written my intro. We're so ready. Have you heard about this
Betelgeuse dimming?
Is it real?
Yes.
Really?
And like all the astronomers are like, please explode. If you want to see a bunch of people excited to see something explode, look at Astronomy Twitter right now. Now, we don't know what's happening. All we know is Betelgeuse has dropped about 2 magnitudes. A light curve I eyeballed last night made it look, and this was eyeballing. I need to go find a paper or numbers at least. I'm being told less gain, which means just move the mic further from my face. It looks like it might be slightly redder. I don't know what that means. That does mean it's slightly cooler.
Right.
But
it changes in brightness. It is a variable star.
But
it does
has
change in brightness.
Dipped. So again, still need to go find numbers written down, but it has dropped lower than previously seen, and it has done it extraordinarily rapidly.
Right.
So this is weird. It is currently fainter than Aldebaran, which is not a thing.
Wouldn't it be weird if Orion's belt only had 2 stars in it?
But Betelgeuse isn't in the belt.
Oh, it's the shoulder. Right. Never mind.
Yeah. So when Betelgeuse goes supernova, Orion will have a bloody shoulder.
Yeah. And then it'll be gone.
Well, it'll be a nebula, so it will be an open gaping wound if you want to make a really gross myth of things.
Wow. I wonder, will it be visible? Okay, this is just like crazy. I mean, it'll be visible in the daytime, and then the wreckage will be visible in the sky for a while. Yeah. But I wonder how, will it be visible with the unaided eye as this circle?
It will be a new Messier level object.
Yeah.
It's impossible to predict exact magnitudes, but it's only 7,000 light years away, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about how far away are, say, the veil and things like that. They're sort of in that realm as well. Yeah.
So,
come on, Betelgeuse. You know what to do. You got one job. Just explode.
Yeah.
That's it. It'll be all over. Just explode. We can't wait. That's awesome. All right. So we're going to talk about strange stars. I don't know if Betelgeuse qualifies, but
it does. But clearly, we're going to need to talk about that on a different week.
yeah.
And I'm thinking our next episode should be things we look forward to in 2020, and Betelgeuse exploding
Is one of them.
is a thing to look forward to.
Yeah, totally. When do you run out of time? When's your next guest?
Hold on, checking the thing and stuff. So it's Sandy and Morgan next with Nancy, and then I'm supposed to paint. Nancy, can you reach out to Sandy and Morgan and see if we can bump them 30 minutes? And then I'll work on digital art when I come back. So let's record a full episode. It's Morgan and Sandy. We love them, but we can also ask them to please delay 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because we need an episode for Monday or Susie will hunt us down.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to think about like when and then also we'll try and take some questions. When should I aim to wrap this up?
Let's aim 30-minute episode and try and by 30 past the next hour.
12:30? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm ready to press record when you are.
Oh, crap. I think we're going to be taking the audio off of the Twitch stream. Let me do a quick reboot on the Twitch stream so we'll have a clean... And people on Twitch, I'm sorry, we will be right